Today we're going to use aliases and functions to save ourselves some typing in Bash. Let's consider the ls command with the options minus L for a long listing, T for sort by time, and R for sort in reverse order. Nice little trick. This gives us a long listing sorted by time with the most recently modified files at the bottom. Why do we want the most recently modified files at the bottom? Well, consider listing a directory like etc, which contains a lot of files. If the recent files were at the top of the list, they'd scroll off the screen. This way, the most recently modified files are at the bottom where I can see them without having to scroll back up or use more. So I think we can agree that ls minus lrt is useful, but probably also agree that we don't want to type ls minus lrt over and over again. So let's create an alias called lt that is ls minus lrt. There. Now every time we type lt, the shell will substitute ls minus lrt. So we can do lt in our current directory, or we can do lt on the etc directory. Very nice. There are some limitations with aliases. They're only evaluated in interactive shells and not in shell scripts. So if you've come to rely on an alias and think it's part of the command language, you might be surprised when it doesn't work in your scripts. If we want to have something that we can use like an alias and also use in scripts, we need to use a function. And if we use functions, we also have a little bit more flexibility, because rather than a straight substitution, we can do, well, just about anything in a function. So let's create a simple function called flt to distinguish it from our alias that is going to do a long listing in reverse order by time. We should put that function in the bash. We should put that function in the .bashrc file in our home directory. And there you see we've already written this function. We have a function called flt that does an ls minus lrt on all the arguments it's passed, and then we've exported it with the minus f option so that it'll be visible in any subshells like shell scripts that we run. Now, in order for this function to work correctly, we either have to log back in to make sure that .bashrc executes, or we can force the shell to execute .bashrc not in the subshell, but in our current shell. And we make it execute .bashrc in our current shell by using the dot and dot tilde slash dot bashrc tells the shell, don't launch a subshell, source this file and run it in the same process. So now we should have an flt function that works exactly the same way as our lt alias, flt slash etc. So there you go. Aliases, functions, they both work well and they both can make your life easier.